Hello everybody! Today I'm having a crocheting project for you, and the stars that I'm going to make will be on another project later in that calendar. So all you need for today is a pair of scissors, a 4mm crochet hook, and I'm using packaging twine, not yarn. If you have great yarn, use that one, but I wanted to have that two-color twine for the stars that I'm making. So I'm starting with a magic circle, and for that you pull the yarn over your thumb and roll it around once, hold all the parts in place. As you can see here, you go with a crochet hook into the loop, catch the twine or the yarn, pull it through and knit one chain stitch. And then you put your thumb on that little knot, take the loop off your thumb and go in and knit 6 single crochets. Just for your information, if you are German speaking, I will link the video that I used for instructions with the German in the German words down below. It might be easier for you then. Otherwise, we move forward. This is stitch number 3 and number 4. And the good thing about that magic circle is that you can pull it real tight and have no hole in the middle as you would with a circle made out of chain stitches. So once I have all my single crochets in place, I am pulling the yarn that I had on the circle, not my working yarn, tight, and voila, we have a circle. Then I am making a slip stitch to join into the first single crochet stitch. It's a bit tricky if the stitches are too tight, so be careful. After that you go with another chain stitch, and then you will crochet the following into the same stitch: half a double crochet, half a double crochet. So I'm going into the first stitch and I'm making half a double crochet. If you don't know the stitches, you might want to go, and now I'm going for the double crochet. If you don't know the stitches, you might just surf through YouTube. There are lots of channels that explain how those stitches are done, both in English and in German. Just look through them. Then I have another half double crochet. And the first stitches are always the hardest because you have pretty much nothing in your hand and you really have to work hard to get into the stitches. So into the next stitch, I am going for, oh gosh, come on, get on here. I'm going for a slip stitch to join. And then I'm going in for a chain stitch. And then I'm repeating all of it 5 more times. So every pattern is done 6 times. One pattern for this round being half double crochet, half double crochet, slip stitch to join, chain stitch. And this is halfway through, like after the first round, it's a flower with 6 petals. And after the second round, it's a star. So you can actually do both while while you are at it. I hope you can see well enough what I'm doing there. It's a bit hard to show you where I'm going into the stitches, but again, I'm not giving you like first time beginner crochet instructions on what a stitch looks like. I guess if you're an advanced beginner or advanced crocheter or knitter, this project will be for you. If you don't crochet but want to try, as I said, I'm going to link a couple of lovely channels that I actually learned crocheting and knitting from in the description box below. And they're both English and German, so I'm using a couple of different channels there. So I have 2 petals done. I'm at the 3rd now. Again, going with a chain stitch, half double crochet, half double crochet, slip stitch to join. The packaging twine is a bit harder to work in the beginning than a normal yarn, but it is easier for complicated stitches because it stays together. It doesn't get all fluffy like normal yarn does. So when you miss the right spot to go into a stitch, it's not going to look as if you pulled the yarn through like 1500 times, but it stays the same, which I like about the twine. And since I'm going to use the star on another project later on, it actually works also better with gluing it on something. You can see there that it stays in place pretty well, and that's actually why I chose the packaging twine over the over a normal yarn. And I'm having a bit of trouble here. I didn't get into the stitch well enough, so you see I could correct it easily, which you can't do when you're knitting. So that's actually also an advantage of crocheting something when you're a beginner instead of knitting it. And I'm just working my way around the magic circle, going with the same stitch over and over again, starting the petal with a chain stitch, going in with a half double crochet, followed by a double crochet, then another half double crochet, and going into or creating the valley between 2 petals by making a slip stitch to join. And you can see on this video, this is real time. So I'm being an advanced beginner on my crocheting skills, and you can see that it took me a little more than 18 minutes to make one of those stars. So I'm having my 6 petals, almost. I think it's 5 only. Yeah, it's 5 only. So I gotta go for 1 more, I guess. Do I? No, it was actually 6. So this is the flower, and for spring or summer, that's actually a nice little embroidery or embellishment on hats or scarves, or maybe I don't know what. And I'm sorry if you hear laughing in the background. I don't know if it records that. That's friends over playing games with my husband. So we're on the next round, and we start with 2 single crochets, and after that I'm making on the second single crochet, those 2 loops are very important. You will crochet 3 chain stitches on top, and then you go through those two loops that I just said, and you pull the yarn through and have another slip stitch. After that, you make another single crochet, and you have into the crest between the petals, you go with a slip stitch to join. So we had the 3 double crochets, half and full, and into each of these stitches you have to get 1 single crochet. So the first stitch, 1 single crochet. The second stitch, another single crochet. Then we add something else before we go into the third stitch. And again, those 2 loops that you have there are very important. 3 chain stitches. Going into those 2 loops, pulling the yarn through and make a slip stitch. Then you go into the third stitch of the foam around and you crochet another single crochet. Again, we're at the valley between the petals, and there you make another slip stitch. And like that, you see, it's going to be a star. And again, single crochet into the first stitch of the petal. Sometimes you have to pinch and pull a bit to actually see the stitches. And into the second stitch, another single crochet. And on top of that, 3 chain stitches. Connecting those to the 2 loops of the single crochet and making a slip stitch. And into the last stitch of the petal, another single crochet. We are at the crest or the valley between the next 2 petals, and there we go for another slip stitch. And like that, you go on until you have the 6 spikes of the star. You see, I made them pretty easy there. And this is actually the easiest pattern that I have found online for a Christmas star. And again, if you're a beginner or an advanced beginner, that's the perfect level for you to make stars for. Maybe just having them as ornaments on your Christmas tree, or some branches of I don't know, maybe some pine, or also you could use them as tags for gifts, or for something that I'm going to show you later on in this calendar. There's lots of possibilities that you have to use this kind of star. And again, you can make that with pretty much any yarn that you have. You just have to have the right size of crochet hook for your yarn. Check the package. For this packaging twine, which is like the normal size, I used a 4mm crochet hook. It's fairly simple. And again, it's also very quick. It's like 15, 18 minutes max that you need for one of those stars. So you could watch a movie at night and just work along, and in those 2 hours you have like 8 stars ready. So, and if you're a real pro, you could actually be quicker. The lady that I got the instruction video from, which is also for the Germans, linked below, she is able to make that star in 6 minutes. Go figure. I'm not that quick, but also I did work a slight bit slower because I wanted you to be able to see on video what I'm actually doing there. So it's definitely possible to do that. So I'm at the last round, or the last strike, like the last part of the star. And I'm just again repeating the pattern over and over again. Oh, it's not the last, it was one more, I guess. I'm not as well with counting, it seems, right? God. Let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, I'm actually done. So I have my 6 spikes of the star, and into the last stitch I go again with a slip stitch, and then you can decide to just cut the yarn, or like I do, you make some chain stitches to have something where you could put the hooks in, to put the hooks also on your Christmas tree, or you have something like a cord where you could connect the star to whatever you're going to do with it. So I'm just cutting the yarn and pulling it through, and that actually makes a perfect knot. And I'm cutting off the tail of the star. I'm just pulling and pinching the star here and there, and the packaging yarn stays in place very well. You might have to moisturize and then kind of iron a yarn star to have it stay in place and not crumble up. Cutting up the tail, and that's it. That's a star. Ta-da! And stay tuned for tomorrow's video, and I'm going to show you what I do with that lovely star. I made a couple of those actually, so I might use more than one in this advent calendar. I hope you had fun and got inspired and learned something. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I hope I see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day and go create. Goodbye.